Welcome everybody on our region call. We do these calls every single Monday night at 9 o'clock Atlantic time. And I'm really excited for tonight's call because we're going to be talking about everybody's takeaway from the Canadian conference in Niagara Falls that so many people just attended. And from a selfish point of view, I can't wait to hear every single thing because I couldn't make it this time around. So really, really excited to see what people took away from that. And that's the beautiful thing about these conferences. Everybody takes different nuggets away from it. So a couple of housekeeping things that I just am thinking off the bat. We're going to start back our Wednesday DAs. It was canceled last week, but in Halifax. So definitely be there this Wednesday. It's going to have such an amazing energy because of all the people who went to the conference or Zoom into it if distance is a factor. Just start marking on your calendar. Every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month, we have that training here in Halifax. So it just sort of becomes so routine for everybody. We have our quarterly training coming up around the corner, November 13th. So those of you who went to CNTC, you know why those quarterly trainings are so important because it's like a mini conference. And if you didn't have the chance to go to the conference, then make sure you come to that in Halifax, November 13th, the quarterly training, or Zoom in. We'll do our best to get a Zoom link up for that training as well. We have a sip and paint coming up in October, so stay tuned for the announcement on that. And I'm going to be going to Fredericton on October 14th. It's a Friday, so we're going to be doing Discover Arbonne. So start thinking about who you can invite to that. Who do you know in Fredericton? And then we're going to be doing a training Saturday morning, the 15th, a casual brunch training at Katie's house. So for anybody who wants to come to that or drive to that, that will be from 9 till 11 or 9 till 12. And then I'll be coming through Moncton on the way back, and we're going to do a team dinner for anybody in Moncton on the 15th. So that's going to be a fun night. So mark it in your calendars. It will just be a great night of inspiration. We're not doing a Discover Arbonne that night. It's going to just be a fun night for really me to get to hang out with you guys and get to know the Moncton team a little bit better. And then Sunday, we may do a training as well or an informal brunch or something like that. Stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on that. So, yeah, so start telling all your friends. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm sure there's lots of other little things I could share, but I really, really want to turn it over to the ones who went to CNTC, the ones that are on this call tonight to inspire us. So I'll start off by handing it over to Katie, who got to walk the stage at CNTC as a brand new area manager. So I saw the video, super exciting. And every single one of you can be there in Vegas walking the stage as a RVP or next CNTC in Edmonton walking the stage as an area or a region. There is absolutely no reason. So congrats, Katie. Congrats to everybody who took the time out of their commitments, their life to be there. And I'll pass it over to you, Katie, and let us know what really got you going at that conference.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. I'm really excited to share some tips. So I think Alicia and I are just going to go tip for tip for a couple, and then we can pass it on to other people who want to share a tip or two or their biggest takeaway. I'm really, really fired up. It's funny because I was away for the weekend and we were so exhausted because I felt like we just went from one thing to the next and it was constant. But then I got home and was so wired laying in bed last night, and I was telling Mike, I think I should take some sleep well spray, and he's sick after watching the baby all weekend. Anyway, he was like, yes, please take some spray, because I was like, ooh, in bed the whole time when he was trying to fall asleep. But anyway, so I wrote down a bunch of tips and a bunch of points from some of the things that we learned while we were away, and I think, like I said, I'll say one and then it'll hop over to Alicia, but this was just something someone suggested, and I thought it was a really neat idea. So we talk about how this business is about serving and helping others. And I don't know who it was, but someone said, I encourage you to get your team members to make vision boards for your office. And I love that. So what I'm going to do is I've taken a bunch of my team. They have pictures of themselves with the Mercedes-Benz that they want when they reach that level. So I'm going to print that and put those on my vision board, because it's not just about yourself, but it's about your team and helping others reach their goals. So I thought that was really powerful. Alicia, you want to hop in?
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry to leave you hanging. I overall, the big feeling that I got from that whole conference was all of the MVPs that spoke were so vulnerable about their journeys and about their stories and why they were doing Arbonne and things that had happened. Mama's working. About things that had happened to them throughout their journey. And the biggest, like the thing that stuck out, I like triple starred it. Stephanie Martin said, "Never compare yourself. It is an act of violence against yourself." And we never think of it like that. Like when we compare ourselves, it's just something we do. But it really is one of the worst, most crippling things that we can do to ourselves, is to compare ourselves to somebody else's journey, somebody else's story, somebody else's highlight reel, really. And rather than focusing internally on what our own journey is and what our own struggles are and what the things that we need to grow and to be authentic in our journey, right? So yeah, back to you, Katie.
So just to kind of like stem off of what she said, we are all unique and we have our own strengths. And someone else mentioned that we should be looking to sponsor our weaknesses. And I thought that was really awesome because, you know, what my strength might be, someone else's strength may not be. They have a different strength. So just as an example, when I sponsored Mike, he already was really, really strong in the personal growth aspect of the business, where I'm still always working to improve mine. So he makes me better at that. And I know that that's his strength. So this person who mentioned sponsor your weaknesses was like, because you can join together and become a powerhouse team. So I thought that was really awesome.
Karen Skiles or Skeels or somebody, I think it was her, that said, she was talking about your pipeline and meeting new people and all that, and how we always talk about, you know, having to work into our cold market and you know, running out of people in our warm market. And she said, stop working in your cold market and start working in your middle market, mm-hmm. which is everything. That's our everyday. That's going to the doctor. That's the people you see there. That's going to the grocery store. It's the people that you meet through your kids' sports games and all that. The people that we may not think of as friends, but they're not exactly strangers either. So she just talked about the middle market and working in that and building your network through that.
So we've heard this before, but it hit me again when someone said it this weekend, that we know Arbonne works. We have sidelines and uplines. There's proof that this business works. We know this business works. We know the products are amazing. We all use and love the products. The only thing that's different about this opportunity is yourself. And that's the really great thing, because we can always be working to improve ourselves. So we know Arbonne works. We know the products are awesome. So really the only differentiating factor is ourselves, which is the good news.
Yeah, shush. Stand up as a leader. Dana Shelley talked about being a servant leader. And she talked about stop trying to get people to do Arbonne and just love people where they are. Like, being a leader doesn't mean dragging people. Like, being a leader means go out and sponsor new people, or work with the people who want to run, or work with the people who are jogging, work at a jogging pace, right? That was something I loved about what she said.
One of the quotes that I heard that I really, really liked was, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. So either way works. So you'll either find a way and it'll work out, or you'll find a reason for it not to work out, but it's really up to you.
Kate Flanagan talked about, her thing was just amazing. Like, if you can find it online, and if you weren't there and you can find it online, like, you need to watch it. She talked about about having zero money when she started this business, and on the outside it looked like they were doing great, but you know, when she went to Vegas, she made the sacrifice when she shouldn't have gone financially. It was a bad decision financially at the time, or so you would have thought. You know, $3,500 in the hole, had to borrow the money, credit cards max, but then talked about what that conference did for her coming back. And she came back and she wasn't a maintaining area when she went. She was only at like 1,500 or 1,200 or something. And when she came back the next month, they did 13,000. So they went from like 1,500 to 13,000, and that's the power of a conference. Wow. And being a no matter what in your business.
There was a lot of talk about giving and receiving, and I don't know about you guys, but I love to give. But this person who spoke on this, and Alicia, you're really good. You know the names of everybody. I just wrote down little points. But giving and receiving is 50-50. And this really struck a chord with me, because she said, if you don't learn to receive, you're stripping someone else of their giving. And then later on that night, a friend of mine, Natasha, went to hand me a wine ticket, and I immediately was like, no, I can't take that. And she mentioned that to me. She's like, giving and receiving is 50-50. And it just, I don't know, it really hit me hard, because I'm really good at giving, but not always as good at receiving. And so it's equally important to know how to give as it is to receive, or you're stripping someone else of that ability to give to you. So I thought that was really cool.
I loved Tammy. I can never say her last name. Braithworth. I don't know. I just added her to Facebook and sent her like a love message, basically. And she was so vulnerable with everybody, and talked about settling in her business. Like for 5 years, she didn't earn the MVP trip. She talked about getting passed by a girl that she sponsored not once but twice. When she was going region, the girl passed her, went region first. When she was going nation, the girl passed her and went nation first. And eventually getting to nation, but then kind of taking a step back from her business and really not being a leader to her team, and not being there for her team, being very hands off, and described kind of the importance of not looking at, what happened as a setback, because it's not about your setbacks. It's about your comeback, and not beating yourself up over anything that may have happened in your business, but just head down, move forward, and your comeback is going to be that much better. And I loved, she got everybody to stand up who's ever had somebody pass them, lost a level, taken a back seat in their business. And we all stood up, because I've lost a level in our bond right here, like not ashamed anymore. Used to be, not anymore. And we all stood up, and she said, now look at the people who are sitting and feel really bad for them, because they've not had the struggles that you had and the learning. And I just thought she was really amazing.
I really liked whoever said success is defined by what you do when you're alone. So we often in this business and any other, successes in life, you see someone's big success. You see that public announcement, and we're often like, oh, they must be lucky, or, oh, they were born with it. No, they've worked really, really hard. And I think it's, a lot of times we accomplish things in this business when you hit certain levels or that end accomplishment, but it's really important to pat yourself on the back for the little things that you're accomplishing along the way. So maybe for you, it's an hour of personal growth a day, and you've committed to doing that every day, and you've done that for so many days. So privately, like, acknowledge yourself for those little accomplishments that will help you get to those big public accomplishments. And you are an independent consultant, so at the end of the day, only you know truly what you are and what you aren't doing. So success truly is defined by what you're doing when you're alone. There's so many, like I could just.
I know. I'm going to say this last one, and then I want to turn it over to, I see Kara's on the line. I know she was in my organization who went to the conference, and I don't know if Melissa's on or not, but if they are, maybe I'll ask them to share one or two things too. But I have written here and starred like several times, fear only grows if you focus on it. So are you afraid of calling? Are you afraid of booking? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of being too pushy? Are you afraid of what people will think? All of that is just junk that we make up in our mind, and what we focus on grows. So we know that in the positive sense, and what we focus on grows. We're always talking about that, but it also works in the negative sense, in that what you focus on grows. So if you're scared of talking to people, and that's all you keep thinking is, oh, I can't talk to people, I'm scared of talking to people, what will they think, blah, 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 blah. That's just going to continue to fester, and it's going to paralyze you. And I know that from speaking from experience here. So, back to you, Katie.
Okay. I think just two more quick little ones, and then we can open it up to whoever wants to share. We'd love to hear from other people. But great leaders aren't born, they are developed. So again, that goes back to us, seeing people who have success and thinking that they're lucky, or you know, they were born with it. But really, no, if you dig deep into those people who have had massive success in this business or in anything else in life, they've developed themselves and they've worked harder on themselves than others who maybe aren't as successful. And somebody asked this question, and I really liked it too, is ask yourself, would you hire yourself? And you don't have to answer it, but it's just something to think about, right? Like, what are you looking for in a leader? Because it's up to you to kind of lead by example. So would you hire yourself? So we can open it up to anybody else that wants to share what their biggest takeaway was.
I'll share one. I shared a bit of it online, but Camilla Eves actually said, you know, you can work this business full-time or you can work this business part-time, but you can't work this business sometime. And what she really meant was, you know, you have to be in continuous activity. And what activity might look like for me might be different for Katie. But we need to be in continuous activity, whether we work at full or part-time. We teach people, you know, to fit this in around the nooks and crannies in their lives, but we also have to validate that it's going to be busier for a while, you know, because you're adding in to those nooks and crannies. But that just struck me, you know, really thinking about starting new people, even myself, jump-starting myself again, like say, you can't work it sometime. You either have to work it full-time or part-time and be continuous with it.
I can share one. Are you done, Susan?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, Leslie.
Actually, I have two. So in the same vein as what Katie and Alicia were saying, vulnerability was definitely a big kind of overarching theme. And that the talk from Tammy Braithwaite, I think her last name's a mystery, but she's like our up line. So we are in her organization and going through, I actually have no notes from her presentation because I guess I was just like listening so hard. But I've been in Arbonne now for almost 4 years, and that's my 4th CNTC that I've been to. And that's kind of embarrassing in some like respects, because if you had asked me 4 years into Arbonne, where would you be? I would have thought like, oh, probably a nation, right? But not. And so when she said, stand up, if you have been passed, check, lost a level, check, step back from your business, check. And I stood up, like I felt kind of sick because I was like, I'm admitting to everybody like how hard I've failed in a lot of respects of this business. And in front of me, there were probably like hundreds of other people standing up. And I didn't even want to turn around and look behind me because I didn't want to lock eyes with anybody who might see me like starting to cry. But it was very validating to see that so many other people have experienced that. But at the same time, so many people who've started Arbonne when I did and who have made it to area or like done more than I've done in the business weren't there. Like they aren't even in Arbonne anymore. And so seeing like Tammy's struggles and hearing about them, but she stayed and she's at the top level of this company. Like I'm definitely not where I thought I would be, but I've stayed. And that I feel like her presentation made me the most emotional, which I don't like to admit. But I definitely took the most away from that just because I feel like seeing that other people have your same struggles is really validating and really just makes you see that like, okay, they struggled, but they did it. So I can too, even if it takes twice as long, 3 times as long as I think it should. So that was a big takeaway. And then the other one was just Natalie's training. And we've all heard Natalie train on every topic under the sun. But it just showed me how lucky we are that we have like constant basically access to one of the best trainers in Arbonne. Like her training was so good, and we've all heard it before. Like we've heard her that exact training in various combinations, but we're so lucky that we have access to an MVP like that, where I'm sure there's people in there that would just, you know, give their right arm to have the access to Natalie that we have. So just how lucky we are to have her as our nation leader, because she did an amazing job. So those were my 2 big takeaways.
Thanks for sharing that, Leslie, the first part, because I probably wasn't willing to admit, even to myself, how frustrating and embarrassing it was for me to even just go to a second CNTC still as a district manager. But I learned so much this weekend about what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you don't ever put on Facebook like, hey, lost my level. Hey, got passed again. Yay.
But like you said, how many people are not there anymore? Like you don't see all the faces who aren't there anymore.
Yeah, like there's areas that have been in our nation that aren't around anymore. And I can't imagine, like, you're in an area and you quit? What? Like, I would love to be in an area. But it happens. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Next.
I have something. Oh, shoot.
Tracy, is that you?
Can you hear me, Katie?
Yeah, awesome. Go ahead.
My biggest thing that I got from the whole thing, there was so much that was there, was that the believing in yourself. Because without the believing in yourself, you can't go forward with it. And that's one of the things that I really got. And hearing and listening to everybody talk about this is it seems to keep going back to that you got to believe in yourself if you want to go through the business.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know how often we talk about it. Like you'll hear Natalie ask the question, like on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you believe in Arbonne? How much do you believe in network marketing? And then how much you believe in yourself? And 9 times out of 10, the struggle is in yourself. So that's where we need to put the most growth, like the most time for growth is definitely in ourselves. Anyone else have anything?
Hi, I have a couple things that I took away. It was great. It was very motivating to hear everybody talk and stuff like that. But one thing that I took away that I think that's going to make everybody excited on this call is how many people I talked to that, I met somebody from a different region, or I met somebody from, a totally different upline, and they're from Moncton, and I had no idea who they were. It just kind of makes me realize how many people are out there that haven't even been tapped yet. How many people that we can talk to that, they're in your same neighborhood and they're in Arbonne, they're in a different upline, and you don't even cross paths. Like, it's like you don't even see the same people that you think that, it might be, a lot of people in the industry, you might think that, it's already saturated, but there's so many people out there. I met 2 people that are from St. John, and they're doing really well in Arbonne and this and that. And so I went to St. John today, and I was talking to another girl in Arbonne, and I said, I met these people in your upline or whatever, and I gave them names, and she's like, I don't even know who those people are. So, people that, it was really interesting to see and to understand that there's so many people out there that we can still tap into now. So that was exciting. A couple other things, I guess. One thing that I'm a really kind of black and white person. So one thing that they said that was really good for you to do, and if you're trying to kind of go down the road of area and region, is to know what it will take to get to region. So what does it look like? What do the bonuses look like? What does it look like, for your downline, for them to get to where they need to be, for you to get to where you want to be? So know the compensation plan, know the bonuses, know how they're going to get there, and know how when you start a job, where you need to go to get your raises, what you need to do to get your promotions. So look at it like that and know kind of how to get to where you want to be. So another thing that I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff, but going back to, knowing yourself, is write down the qualities you already have to be successful. So write down what you have to get to where you want to be. Write down your qualities. Know what your qualities are, because that's going to get you to where you need to be. You're going to be able to draw on those. There's a couple other here too. What did I put here? Another thing that I thought was really neat was they asked, somebody said, who is your most influential person in your life? And why are they the most influential person in your life? And find out what really fulfills you. Is it people that you talk to every day? Is it doing the facials? So understanding that too. I've got other things here too, but those are the ones that I really took away.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at the comment that said it's killing Colleen that she can't speak. Katie,
Yeah.
at the top, beside zoom.us at the top, Kate, on your Apple, it says meeting. You drop that down, you should be able to unmute all. So I wasn't laughing at you, honest.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
It still has Colleen muted with everybody else unmuted. So I don't, must be on your end, Colleen, sorry.
Did Colleen start the call? If she actually, no.
That's all I have.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants
Alyssa, did you want to share? You're muted still.
Oh, is this better?
Yep.
Okay. One of the things that I wrote down was, you have not lived today until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. I just thought that was like really powerful. And so I was really excited about that one, just because so many of these people are so thankful that they got sponsored, and they can never like repay their sponsor for allowing them this opportunity. And then the other one was the, somebody already mentioned it, like the 50-50 thing. And I just watched a movie, Safe Haven, and it was saying, like, she never says thank you or never wants to accept anything. And it was the same way. You're ripping somebody off of them giving you something. And I really like that. But yeah. Anyways, that's it. I don't want to talk anymore.
Somebody also compared this business to yoga, which I thought was pretty cool. And I might like butcher this, but it doesn't matter how it looks, but that you do it. And yoga is about nobody else around you, that it's about you, your 100%, your intention, your purpose, your focus, your motivation, and your why. That it's not about anybody else around you or how it looks, just that you're doing it. I thought that was kind of cool.
Another one that I just saw in my notebook, Dana Shelley was talking about being a servant leader and all that. And she was saying that if you aren't feeling good, you won't attract people to you. So like, we need to stop criticizing ourselves. We've all criticized ourselves for too long about whatever it is that's going on in our business or our life. And just start approving of ourselves and see what happens from there. Because if you're not feeling good about yourself, it's really hard to inspire somebody else about what this business can do for them. And yeah, I thought she was awesome.
And also that I'm sorry, I'm like talking a lot too, but there's just so many things. But just to kind of go off of what you just said, one of them was like, if you're sitting comfortably, you can bet there are other people on your team who are sitting uncomfortably. So how dare you get comfortable in your business? Because, when you reach a level where you have choices and possibilities, there are probably people underneath of you or around you that haven't had the successes that they necessarily want or deserve. So, don't get comfortable. Keep going and keep making way and making room for other people to have those successes too. Colleen. Okay, does anybody else want to share anything? I could at least stop the recording. Should I stop it?
I was just going to tell Colleen, if she clicks on